As promised in my previous videos, I want to introduce other YouTubers to the 434 community for you to get a better understanding what access and interaction with the spiritual world looks like. Being a like-minded person and making similar videos on the same metaphysical issues, it was only a matter of time before me and Shaman Oaks got together and talked about our spiritual mission, our YouTube viewers, and the future of our journey. If you watch 434 videos, it is very likely that you're familiar with him. He's one of the first YouTube pioneers of making videos about psychedelic experiences. We recorded this discussion hoping that we can introduce our viewers to each other, and if you haven't had a chance to watch Alan's videos, head over to his YouTube channels and his website. All links in the video description. I'm really happy that we're doing this. Tell me, we're basically operating in the same YouTube space. We talk about the same things. When I look at our videos, it's pretty much video titles are the same, right?
Yeah, for the most part.
Yeah, I think it's the same for everybody who's involved in psychedelics. But maybe just for the sake of this conversation, maybe start by telling everyone who you are, what it is that you do. Just introduce yourself.
I'm Shaman Oaks. Well, I go by Shaman Oaks on YouTube. My name is Alan Chapman. I started my channel just going down a rabbit hole, tried DMT, and it opened a lot of doors, windows, alleyways, all sorts of things for me. So yeah, I've just been on this kind of quest to figure out like what is reality, what is going on, because there's just the further you get into it, the more questions you have, I feel. Exactly, yeah. So I'm Peter. I'm the guy behind the 434 channel. I started not that long ago. You've been around for 3 years, right? Yeah. I took a break for like a year. But yeah, I'm back. Yeah, I saw that. So I started at the end of November 2018, and boy, this has been a ride. So the reason why I started the channel is because I started taking psychedelics. Well, it's actually only magic mushrooms 4 years ago. And from the first time I started taking them, I've been in contact with some entity, someone basically. Back then, I didn't know what it is, and then I started Googling, about people taking psychedelics. There wasn't anything back then in 2015. There wasn't many people talking about this. And then I found out about Terence McKenna and machine elves. So I decided to call those entities machine elves. I'm still not sure if I'm using this term, this phrase correctly. I don't know if those are machine elves, but they look like machines. They look like bionic, robots. It's very difficult to define them. And they are those divine entities that I get in contact with. And it's absolutely amazing. I always actually wanted to talk to you about that. Like, you actually see machine elves, like elves that are made out of machines? Because I've never seen that, but I always heard that, that terminology thrown around. But yeah, I've never experienced that. Yeah, so what I see is actually... This is what they told me, because I asked them about this many times, and they actually get very frustrated when I pay attention to them. They explained this too, so I'll tell you what it is. Basically, they look like robots, but they don't look like typical, androids that we have in sci-fi movies. They look more like a divine entity made of digital parts, but this entity is alive, and it's not really morphing because it stays the same way throughout my contact, but it's very complex. It's like half of it is made of energy, half of it is made of physical parts, but usually it's made of love, it's made of emotions. You can imagine how difficult it is to describe it with human words. Right? The human language absolutely does not do any justice. It's basically impossible to describe anything this way. But tell me, what is it that you see? Because my question that I have to you, there's not that many people we could talk to about this. It seems the reason why our channels are growing so fast is because everybody's looking for answers. It looks like we've just opened door to some new branch of science or knowledge that hasn't been tapped into yet. What is it that you see? What is it that you're experiencing? Well, I guess it all depends on what substance we're talking about. Like with DMT, I definitely saw, a blue lady a few times, and sometimes, yeah, she was kind of digital. I've never seen anything that looked like a machine though. Like I've seen gnomes on mushrooms. I just kind of hear, or I kind of get a knowing. Like I can hear that something is responding to me if I ask questions, but I don't see anything. So
you just hear the voice, right?
Yeah, well, but I guess it's like in my head, so I don't really hear it, but I it's like a knowing hearing, I guess, if that's the way to describe it. It's like,
yeah, it's telepathy, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Exactly. So the way I describe, because sometimes I listen to my videos and I'm thinking, God, I sound dumb, because it really does sound like immature when I try to say, for example, that a message was uploaded to my head, and I'm like, this is like Neo and Matrix, but that's what really happens. Like, you ask a question, and before you finish the thought, the answer is already there in your head. It is as if this was a part of you, as if it's been always there. So it's really difficult to use human words and human language to talk about this. And I can see both in your and my videos that, I don't know, I know that we edit everything, we think about what we want to say, we don't really freestyle. We basically do this manicured message that we put out for people, but I can see that we're struggling with actually conveying this message and trying to explain what it is that we're going through on psychedelics. Do you agree with?
Oh yeah, 1,000%. Like it's the most frustrating thing about all of this is that when you do it, there's no way to adequately describe it to someone that even comes close to representing what you experienced. And so, like, I like to put up a lot of visuals with mine to try and get that visual across, but it barely scratches the surface of what is out there. Like, no human that I've seen has ever created anything that exactly replicates what I experience. And then you can't replicate the feelings that you get and the expansiveness that you get. Like, it's just so frustrating.
Yeah.
So my whole thing is, like, I just want to encourage people enough. I want to spike their interest enough that they will try it for themselves, because that's the only way that that you can really experience it is by experiencing it. The only way you can know it is by experiencing it. But you can always tell if someone has experienced it by the way that they talk. Exactly. You can just go, yep. Even if they don't even talk about psychedelics, like, I've seen movies where they'll show something or talk about something, and I'm like, that person's definitely done, LSD, or I can usually tell the drug sometimes, or the psychedelic even.
Exactly, so. Yeah. I've recently seen an episode of Rick and Morty, and there's an episode where they merge with this alien, 3 of them, both Rick, Morty, and this alien, and you can tell that whoever wrote this episode, they saw what we saw. Like, there's no way you could come up with this. This is this universal nature of this contact and those messages that actually allows you to see the person as someone who's genuinely been through this. Now, my viewers are usually divided into 2 people. There are the ones who are very intrigued and interested in what we're experiencing, and the other part that's basically advanced in all of this, and they know exactly what I'm talking about. And when I talk to someone, by the way they use their language, I mean, it's, it's international audience. Yeah, I'm a foreign myself. So you can tell the way people use words and the way they formulate sentences, you can tell whether somebody has had this contact on psychedelics, because it changes the way you try to explain it. You see this linguistic struggle, like this syntax becomes it's very specific to psychedelic talk, I would say.
Yeah, it's very hard to fake.
Exactly.
Like, you can easily find if someone's just making something up. Yeah.
Do you get the same thing that people are trying to question this? Are people saying, is Shaman Oaks legit?
Well, yeah, people sometimes leave the comments. They say that, but I can always tell when someone usually says that. It just means they've never done it.
Yeah.
Like, once you've done it, you're not going to call me out and call me a liar. But if you go, oh yeah, that's bullshit, then I almost automatically can ask them another question, like, so have you done it? And they'll be like, no, but you don't sound like so and so and so and so. And I was like, yeah, but if you heard like Terrence McKenna or you can see that there is this underlying thread that will connect them all. Like, we're not going to have the exact same experience, and we're like, I'm not going to see machine elves because they might represent themselves differently to me, but I can tell just by listening to your, like, when I first found you, like, I started just binge even listening all of your things, and I was like, yeah, this guy's been there. He's seen it. You can just tell. It's yeah.
Exactly. Yeah, because this is people. I need to make a video about this. I'm actually uploading it probably on Sunday, whether machine elves are real. And one of my main arguments is that guys, I'm not that smart. There's no way I could come up with all of this myself. Some things that I learn on it, it's just, I have to Google words that they use because my English is not that good. They say something and I'm like, what's that word? And I'm like, have I made this up? And then I look it up and it's a real word that means exactly what it's supposed to mean. So there is no way I could come up with this unless my brain has a life of its own. But my question to you is, what's your theory? What are those entities? Are they real? And what do you think about this? Tell me.
Yeah, I think it's an alternate dimension that we kind of get to tap into. I like the whole theory that our brain is kind of it's either like it's an antenna or a reducing valve. Like we pick up on our brain picks up signals, and with different substances, it either turns off or turns on part of your brain that lets you access, dimensions that are, or different realities, I guess, that are hidden from us on our normal view, because we can't experience that stuff all the time. Otherwise we would like go crazy. So that's I don't see how it cannot be real, especially with DMT. And then my last mushroom trip, it was answering all sorts of questions about life and the meaning of life. And like you said, it answers it in ways that I've never even thought about before. So I was like, that didn't come from me.
Exactly. Yeah, I recently made a video called "Are We All Crazy?" because I understand when trolls contact me going, "Oh, you need psychiatric help, you're sick, bro," that kind of stuff, and I'm like, whatever, just delete, it doesn't matter. But when I start asking myself if I'm going crazy, because for me, I know that you have a video on dead people. For me, that was the last straw. I had my doubts, and those entities, they addressed that. They said, you're struggling with accepting those experiences as genuine. We'll give you time, but you need to start believing in what's happening because it's important to what you do here. And the moment when I started talking to some dead family members and they started giving me information about things that I have no way of knowing, there's no way I could have accessed this information because it happened before my birth. That's when I realized that there's no way this could be fake. There's no way this could be a hallucination of any sort. And even if it is, then it must come from some real source, somewhere that we don't know about. What's your experience with dead people?
I haven't experienced dead people on a psychedelic, but I have through meditation. So, and then I've kind of found out that, basically I had a bunch of synchronicities that happened, and I started smelling smells and hearing things and seeing things in my meditations. And then I was able to back it up or validate it with my friends. So like I smelled smoke on my finger one day, and then I came home and I watched a video about sometimes mediums will smell smoke on their fingers if someone was, a smoker in their past life or in their previous life. So then it dawned on me, oh, my coworker, I know her dad is dead. So I went and talked to her the next day, and I was like, really weird, random question, but was your dad by any chance a smoker? And she goes, yeah. She teared up and she was like, yeah, why do you ask me that? And I was like, well, because yesterday while I was eating with you, I just started smelling random cigarette smoke on my fingers, and I haven't been around smoke in, I can't even know how long. So, and then I asked her, like, can I borrow a piece of jewelry and like meditate on it and see if I can get any information about your dad? And I did that, and I was able to get his name and some other like things about him. And I was like, okay, so, at first I thought this is going to be really cool and awesome, and I can't believe this is happening. But I immediately go, holy fuck, I'm crazy. Like even getting stuff validated, every day I would question my sanity. And I've talked to other people about this, and they said, well, as long as you are questioning it, that's good. So that's a healthy thing. But if you're experiencing all these like really crazy, fantastical things and you don't question it, then you're probably crazy.
I think that we all go through this. I think we're not in any way special that, we're getting those messages, or because I can see people occasionally get really frustrated with, at least with me, because you can see jealousy. Sometimes you see people get annoyed because they're trying to do something themselves, or everyone says they want contact with machine elves. But I think that we all have that. We all have synchronicities. We all have some sort of, clairvoyant. We have the ability to do that. The only difference would be that people the way you just described it, you were very curious. You wanted to know what's going on. You mentioned synchronicities. You know, the fact that you actually know what it is, you know what it's called, because I didn't know the word synchronicity until I started looking it up, because the number 434, it's been so annoying because I would see it everywhere. And then I started looking for people who have the same experiences, and then I learned the term synchronicity. Then I learned about Carl Jung, that he was the first one who actually described it. But I think it takes an empath. They call also, this is also, it's all new to me. This terminology, it's all very new. And I think you're one of those people. You're someone who's not really ignoring those things. You're in touch with your higher self. You're someone who's paying attention, and someone who's actually, you're open-minded, right?
Right.
So even now, when you started talking, you said the word synchronicity, and I have a list of questions on my screen, and I have words everywhere. And the moment you said it, I looked at synchronicity, and there's no way this could be a coincidence. This is not, it's not accidental. This thing happens all the time. And once you start paying attention to it, you start realizing that this is really strange. This world and this life is not really what we were told it is.
Right.
And I think that's the difference. The only difference between you, me, and other people is that we're willing to talk about this. Now, the other video I made was about courage, and I wanted to talk to you about courage because most of the messages that I get start from, I'm so grateful that you have the courage to actually talk about this. Do you feel that we're doing something extraordinary? Is it really courageous what we do?
I'm going to go back and can I talk about synchronicity a little bit real quick?
Yeah, sorry,
So my thoughts about like why I've experienced stuff, or probably why you have, it's all comes down to being curious. And a lot of people, as they get older, stop being curious. But if you just go back to how you were as a kid and just ask why and seek new experiences, then I think you will have these experiences. But with DMT, I would always tell people, before you smoke it, go in with zero expectations. Like, just be curious and go in with respect. If you go in wanting to find machine elves, or you want to see the lady DMT, or you want to do whatever, it will almost always, at least for me, do the opposite, just to show you're not in control. So if you want to have like a mystical whatever experience, you have to be able to let that go and just be curious and just be open to whatever happens. And then the more you do that, the more you'll kind of be rewarded. You'll be rewarded for your curiosity and for your exploring. And then like synchronicities, like the reason I got into those is I didn't know what they were either. I used to call them doubles. So when two things would happen randomly that seemed connected, I would write them down. And for years, I had this like Evernote document of every time it happened. And I was like, why does this seem to happen? And then I would try to figure out like, okay, like when a big one would happen, I would try to think, okay, what was I doing that caused that? And over the years, and then I got this tattoo, which is an I Ching, and I got the I Ching, and then I got a book from Carl Jung on synchronicity. Yeah. And in the first page of Carl Jung's book talking about synchronicity, he goes, I came up with the term synchronicity while doing a talk on the I Ching. So it's like I got this tattoo on my arm, and then I don't know if I can explain this correctly. I think I do in one of my synchronicity videos, but basically I got a tattoo on my arm just randomly, and it's just so happened to be a synchronicity with Carl Jung. And synchronicities and doubles. And
is it those triangles? Because I was looking at them the other day.
It's the 6 bars. So I can send you a picture.
One. Yeah.
So it's. But what's interesting is, and like Carl Jung was super big on the I Ching, and he says there was like, and it's just fortune telling. So if you ever see those gold coins in metaphysical shops that have a square in the middle, those are I Ching coins. You get 3 of them. You ask a question to the universe, and you roll them 6 times, and however they come out is either a straight line or a line with a break in it. And apparently he thinks it's like the holds the answers to the universe. I still haven't ever gotten that far with it, but I just found it very interesting that I started recording what I said was doubles. Then I found out the term synchronicity. Then I found out about Carl Jung, and then he tied it back to this tattoo. And it's just been this weird, wild kind of path that I've been on, or I guess journey I've been on of discovery. And I think that's the key to all of it, is just being curious and exploring. And I used to say that at the end of all of my videos: stay curious and keep exploring, because that's what you do. It's like you take mushrooms and you're curious what they are, and you have experiences. But do you agree? Do you agree that you can't force it? Like, you can't go in wanting an experience?
See, it's for me, it's a bit difficult, because from the first moment 1 hour in taking mushrooms, the first time back in August 2015, I immediately had contact, and those entities are very nice to me. They're lovely, and they are always very open to my questions. So I don't need to force anything. Basically, the intention that I have, it's to ask questions, and they always answer them. Mm-hmm. They started being a bit annoyed with me now, because they said, we're not going to answer questions for your YouTube videos. They actually said that. They said, we have other stuff to talk to you about. Yeah, they're really smart. Yeah. They said that there was a moment when I asked, I have a question from one of my viewers, and they went, so you imagine that this divine entity that deals with universes, that thinks so highly of themselves and you, that it's willing to give you an answer, they want to come back and answer a random question. That's very offensive to us. And that was the moment when I realized that I don't have a very respectful approach to this whole thing. I'm still learning. It's been 4 years, but I still don't understand it. What I wanted to say is that from what you've explained, because it's the same as me. You've mentioned Carl Jung, you've mentioned I Ching. Wayne Dyer talks about I Ching. He was the reason why I went into spirituality. And synchronicity, it's all the same. It's like you're a carbon copy, or I'm a carbon copy of you. We basically went through the same thing to get where we are now. Mm-hmm. But from what I heard, it seems like you underestimate the value of your personality, because you do the same thing as I used to do. I used to think that it's natural and it's normal, that we're supposed to be like that you question things and you're inquisitive. And then you talk to other people and they go, no, that's very brave, because I could never do that. Right. And I think, I don't want to make it sound like we're in any way special. It's just that what we do is not, this is not a normal thing. The way we approach things is very, very different to what the rest of society do. That's the reason why I made this video about courage, because it was, the viewers on my YouTube channel, they said, I really admire what you do, because this is very brave. And I was like, what do you mean brave? I'm basically making YouTube videos talking about what I saw. And they said, yes, but I would never do this because of my family. And then I'm scared of being in front of camera, and I'm not open-minded enough. And then they go through the list of things that we have that they don't have. And I'm starting to think, maybe there is a reason why we have those channels, why there's so many people listening to us. So I feel that there is some stuff about us when it comes to the way we see things that is very different. And I'm sure it's causing a lot of troubles in your life, as it is in mine. It's not all good. It is a good thing to have, but at the same time, it's a struggle. So maybe it is a bit of courage. But tell me about your life when it comes to this. Is it really difficult for you, the person you are?
Well, for courage, so I never would have made my channel if it wasn't for a dream I had. I had my DMT experiences. I wanted to share it with the world, but I was too scared. I was too scared to put it. I think all my DMT experiences and my LSD, I think most of them were like 2013. And then I had a dream one night, and basically the crux of the point of the dream at the end, I was told I was going to be dead in a year. Right. And it really stuck with me. Like, if you know those dreams, you kind of wake up and you kind of, oh wow, that was weird, and then 5 minutes later it's gone. Yeah. This one was like, I was walking around kind of in a daze the rest of the day, going, what? Like, I'm going to be dead in a year. And so I was like, okay, it's probably a dream, but if I am going to be dead in a year, what do I want to leave behind? And to me, my DMT stories and my LSD stories, I was like, that's important. Like, that's if I'm going to die, to me, like, I want the world to know about this, because once you go down this rabbit hole, you can't look at the world the same way anymore. You can't look at reality the same way anymore. And so I didn't just like jump out and like, oh, I'm courageous, I'm going to do this. It was like, I kind of was like backed into a corner saying
a process.
Yeah, like you're gonna die. What are you gonna do about it? And that's the way kind of my life has been. I kind of know what I want to do, but I'm too scared to do it. So life will kind of push me in that direction. And with this, like I like to think, oh yeah, I'm brave. I've done this or whatever. But like I called it Shaman Oaks because I didn't want to have my name on it. So it's like I'm not that brave. And then
I'm 434, so
yeah, exactly. And then I don't like I don't post any of my videos on my social networks, like my Facebook, my private ones. Yeah. Like I have these special ones, so I can still like hide a little bit. But my channel's gotten big enough where people have not all of them have heard about it, but I know people in my family have seen it. They just kind of pretend like I'm not doing it.
Happening.
Yeah, because no one brings it up with me, or very few people have actually brought it up. But I'm nervous when I go home because it's like if I'm in a car ride with someone and I'm alone, I don't know if they're going to bring it up because I'm from Texas and it's very conservative and very like drugs are not a thing like that anybody talks about in my family or will do. My mom was really upset because I live in California. And when they made weed legal here, my mom was like, "Oh, I don't even like you living in California because there's weed's legal there." And I was like, "Mom, like, relax. Like,
it's a good thing."
Yeah, it's much better than people drinking alcohol for sure.
Yeah, exactly.
So,
but what you've just described, that's actually a definition of courage. You've said a lot of things that sound like you're just brave because most people just sweep it under the carpet and they never do anything about it. And then they live lives of quiet desperation or quiet psychosis where, because this video, we're all crazy. One of the things that this recurring theme in every message is that, oh, I needed this because I thought I was on my own. I thought I was crazy. So what we're doing is actually legitimizing, just giving credibility to other people's experiences. So I believe it's very important. Now, for me, it was very different. My story started in 2007 because I always liked making videos and editing videos. So I started on YouTube right when it was created, around 2006, 2007. And I was quite successful back then, but I didn't know how it works. It was, there was no structure back then. Mm-hmm. So I was going back and forth between I was a DJ, so I had a DJ channel, and then I started doing social commentary. And at some point, it just went crazy. I got something like 60 to 70 million views on Facebook, and then my YouTube started blowing up. It was a big thing, but it was personal. So I had, like you, I had my face on it. So with the face recognition technology, you can just take the face and know everything about the person. So it's very risky at the moment. That's one of the reasons why I decided to hide behind this electric vagina, as people call it. But they say it's a digital vagina. I love it. I never thought of it because it's supposed to be an energy-filled diamond, but I didn't do a good job, I think, with the animation, so they call me an electric vagina, which I enjoy. But this channel was supposed to be, because those millions of views was very exhausting, was hard work, and at some point I was like, what am I talking about? Because I was talking about social issues and I didn't like that. I was like, that's not me. And then I thought, let's talk about something for my family and friends. Let's see what they think about something more spiritual. And I made the video about synchronicity, and immediately all my friends were gone. It was like, oh, you're crazy. Mm-hmm. So I was like, oh, whatever, I'm enjoying this. And then people started messaging me, and then within 3 months, I started getting hundreds of subscribers. I'm like, oh, I'm onto something. This is something that people need. And I went into this. And I mean, it's August 1st, and I just quit my job, and I decided to make my life all about 434. And I decided to live off people's donations and Patreon and that kind of stuff. That's a really crazy move. I don't know if I'm really doing the right thing, but it feels great. I must say, I don't know what you do. I don't know how you decided to live your life and what you want to do in the future, but I highly recommend. For now, it's amazing. Let's see how it goes a few months from now, but it's really worth dedicating your life to not only this calling, but also helping people, because those videos, they save lives. I get messages from people who said, I was about to commit suicide today and your video stopped me.
Wow.
And when I hear this, and then I think I'm sitting in an air-conditioned room with some random person talking to me about KPIs and Excel sheets, I'm like, what am I doing here? This is ridiculous. This is not me. So that's the reason why I decided to quit and start doing 434 full time. What's your idea for your future? What do you want with all of this?
Ooh, it's a great question. Well, through this, I also found energy healing, which throws a lot of people off. And so I make most of my living doing that energy work. I would love for this channel to do more, but I don't know. It seems it's difficult to make money on these sorts of channels. I don't know how you're doing it. You're very consistent and good with asking for donations or asking for support, and I'm really not. But I would love to. I don't know. I just here's the thing. I don't really have an end game what I want. I just wanted to be a part of something that I thought was important, and I couldn't think of anything more important than this. You know, opening people's minds to the other. All the possibilities. So, and to be on kind of like the forefront. I know like Terrence McKenna and stuff is way more on the forefront than us, but back when I first started in 2015, there weren't very many people doing it. I think I saw Psych Substance and Your Mate Tom. And Your Mate Tom was like, oh, he's a normal dude talking about his ayahuasca. And I was like, if he can do it, and he had like one ayahuasca video, was like no editing, him just like talking in front of a camera, had like 100,000 views. And I was like, wow, like people really do want this. And with I have a background in editing and like graphic design. I was like, okay, I can make this a little bit more immersive for people. And so then I just jumped in, and that's what, I kind of did. I saw that there was a need, and I just kind of went out there doing it.
Yeah, that's, you also mentioned 2 channels that I'm subscribed to. This is also the reason why the way I see things is that if you're doing something, it's worth doing things good. I mean, it requires the same amount of energy. And my plans are to get it so big that I can invite, people like Dennis McKenna, Joe Rogan, whoever, so that we can actually have an open discussion and build some sort of a network. I was asked by the entities, they said, your job here is to build a network of like-minded individuals. You're the reason why I saw your videos before I started 434, and you're one of the reasons why I thought this is good. This is something that people want to do. I remember back then you didn't have 80,000, you had less than that, and I thought, yeah, this guy is doing what I want to do. And then this was when I was looking up alien entities. You were talking about them, and I thought I'm getting something similar, and we need to make it bigger. And then you mentioned that I'm consistent in asking for donations. The reason I'm doing this is because I didn't have Patreon, and people just started talking to me like, how can I donate to you? And I thought, well, if people want to do this, then why not? And then I thought, if you don't ask for something, you don't get it. But it's the other thing I wanted to talk to you is, what's your relationship with your viewers? Because people on my channel are incredibly, I've never seen so many amazing people. They're so lovely. I love them all. They're so open-minded. They're generous. If you look even at the like to dislike ratio at our videos, it's insane. It's like almost all is likes. It's just likes. There's no dislike. You get occasional ones. But what's your relationship with your viewers? Tell me.
Oh, they're amazing. I always tell people that I found the one place on the internet that has nice people. Like when I got into this, I totally expected to just be like shit on constantly. And I was I was totally mentally prepared for that.
Yeah, me too.
And then I just got so much love in return. I was like, what?
Exactly.
And then I was like, okay, well, I'm gonna get big enough, and all of a sudden I'm just gonna get a wave of shit, and it just never has happened. Like people are very supportive and very into it. And that just goes to show you that, like, if you're into this sort of stuff, it's like, it's good. You're good people for the most part. Like, people don't come into this with negative intentions or bad intentions. Or if you do, like, you quickly get put in your place by the entities or by, the substances. So, yeah, I don't know. It's like I like what people used to say about psychedelics. It's like you can't abuse them. Like, people are always like, "Oh, aren't you going to get addicted?" And it's like, no. If you even start to abuse them, you start having really bad trips, and they will let you know. Like,
you cannot abuse psychedelics. I don't think that's even physically possible. You don't get addicted to it. I don't. I mean, it's not alcohol.
Well, yeah, it's not. No, I know it's not. But that's what. But people will say that to you, and they'll think that.
Right.
And, but that's what I don't know if have you ever smoked DMT?
No. Well, the thing is that my only experience with anything is just mushrooms. I used to smoke occasionally weed, but it's just mushrooms, nothing else.
Okay, yeah, because DMT, it's like, I've never seen a substance that puts you in your place like harder than that. And
really?
That happened to me when I was just on ayahuasca. It was, I'd taken a break, haven't done a psychedelic in a bit, and I was like, my DMT videos do so well, and I was like, well, I'll go down to Peru. I can't really afford it, but I know my ayahuasca videos will make the money back for me, right? So I kind of went down there thinking, oh, I can make some good videos. And my first night taking ayahuasca, it was like, you came here to make a YouTube video. And it was like, you don't come here to do that. And I was miserable.
The same messages. Oh, that's amazing.
Yeah, it literally abused me for 6 hours. And it was like, you're going to delete your channel. It was like mean to me. And I was like, oh, like I don't know what I was thinking, like with that, even the back of my mind. Like, it wasn't my intention when I like sat down.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, my intention is to heal and this and this. But it was like, no, in the back of your mind, we know why you're here.
Yeah, I'm sorry to say that, but I'm so happy it happened to you, because the same thing happened to me. And it's so reassuring that we just not nice people, because they know that we're very human when we talk to them sometimes, and they know it.
Yeah. Yep.
So
and they see behind your bullshit.
Of course,
you can't hide anything from them.
No, that's true. But I saw those videos, and even your negative experiences are very similar to my. I did a heroic dose once, 4 grams, which for me is crazy. It's like 50 grams for a normal person. And what you described on ayahuasca with the shaking toilet wallpaper was wallpaper.
Yeah.
Yeah. That was very similar to what I went through, and yeah, I don't recommend this. But at the same time, whoever's listening to this, guys, there's no way we can explain to you what psychedelics can do for you. There's a reason why they're illegal, and it's because they change you. I talked about this many times in my videos. Just tell people, what do you think about psychedelics?
Right. I feel it was either Terrence McKenna or someone else said, when you do I think it was Leary. They're like, well, what if I end up changed? What if I take psychedelics and it changes me? And it was like, that's the point. Like,
exactly.
The whole point is to change the way you look at things. And it's good and bad in a way. Like, I used to be a lot more into pop culture and caring about, celebrities and whatnot. But I think through psychedelics, it's changed me, and like, I mean, excuse my language, but I don't give a fuck anymore. Like, it's completely rewired my brain to like think about more important things, and it sometimes makes it a little bit difficult to be with other people that haven't done it, because you can't really relate. Like, you look at the world differently. You like through a much different lens. So that's what I would say that I think it does for you. It changes your perception. Or the way you process things, the way you look at things. You just see things on a much bigger scale. Like, I have friends that are very spiritual, and they're into all these, they're very spiritual, but I can still tell they've never done psychedelics. And so when they talk about certain things, I'm like, yeah, that's true, but you're missing this whole other aspect that like adds 50 other dimensions to what you're talking about. And I don't normally even say that to them, but because I don't want to ever sound like a pretentious like asshole or whatever. But there's just so much more that it's, I don't know. It's hard to describe, but when people act like they have it all figured out, that's when I'm just like, nobody does. And good luck with that. Like, go take DMT or mushrooms and you will, it'll change you. Or my favorite thing that I used to do when people would smoke DMT, I would tell them, okay, there's this lady, this happened, this happens, whatever. But go in with no expectations, right? And they'd be like, okay, yeah. They go in, they'd smoke, and then the look on their face when the trip ended was always like, holy shit, what was that? And they were like, I know what you told me about this lady and whatever, but it was so much more than that. Like, I can't even fathom what I just experienced. And I was like, yep, exactly. Like,
that's how it works.
People can talk to you about it all day long, but until you experience it yourself, it's like, you just can't. So
no, the good thing about psychedelics is that at least for me, it's an emotional connection. It's people talk about hallucinations on psychedelics, but what people usually don't mention is that you start hallucinating emotionally, which means you're experiencing synergistically things which are impossible in normal state. You cannot, I don't know, hear smells or see sounds, obviously. But once this happens on the emotional level, you start becoming a completely different person. And I think the biggest discovery that you'll go through is the discovery of you, the discovery of selfhood. You start realizing things about yourself that change you so profoundly that there's no way you can go back to who you were. I made a video called The Danger of Magic Mushrooms, and it's not really that popular, but I think the reason for that is that people don't really know what this video is about. They don't really want to watch it, but it is about the dangers of becoming a completely different person. And I always say that once you go through this, you are excluded from the trivia parade of society. You're no longer interested in Kardashians, you don't care about politics, because you know that it doesn't really matter. That's also the reason why I made this somewhat philosophical video called Why So Much Evil, where I explained that evil is just the perception of how we see things as human. And it's so misunderstood that people really don't like this video. People complain about this. And when I try to explain it to them, I always see what I'm saying and I'm like, oh, I did a really bad job there. Because it's so difficult to explain emotionally what they meant that I usually give up. I try to talk to people about this and then I go, no, let's not talk about this because it's too difficult. You need to have this bigger picture. And my problem is there's so many things that I learn on psychedelics, on magic mushrooms, that I cannot talk to people about because you cannot translate those experiences into human language. So right. That's my biggest problem with this. Can you tell people, what would you suggest when it comes to having contact or having a healing effect on your psyche? What would you say is the best psychedelic? Because you've tried a lot, haven't you?
Yes. Healing, I don't know. I would say, if I had to rate them, I would say DMT is the best for opening your mind to different dimensions and realities and beings. LSD was more, I guess, inner work for me, and mushrooms was more, I don't know. So I have a problem with mushrooms. Well, I don't have a problem with mushrooms, but it's really hard for me to give it a good answer because for the most part, mushrooms were just pretty things oh, nature, look at that sunset, look at the stars. And I really wasn't getting messages. But the last time I did it was say a month ago, and I did a very low dose, and because I was going to start microdosing to help me with depression. Yeah. And I was outside walking around, and I was even when it starts kicking in, you can kind of just see the world start to
different
enhance. Colors. Yeah. And I could feel it, but it was super light, and I was oh man, I didn't take enough, and I think I ruined this, and I don't want to take too much because I have to go do something else later. And so I was well, you know what, I'm just going to go back to my room and lay down on my bed, turn off the lights, and just see what happens. And I had one of the most profound experiences that way, where that was the one where I was answering questions, or every time I had a question about the universe or life, the meaning of life, it came to me right away, and I was just dumbfounded because that had never happened on mushrooms before. I had never experienced any entities. I never experienced getting questions answered before. To me, before, mushrooms was always just pretty and, looking at the world differently. So it's hard for me to, I guess, answer that question accurately or honestly because it's changed so much for me over the years, or recently. But I have one question for you. How many times have you done mushrooms?
Oh, it's difficult to count. I started in 2015. As soon as I took it, the first time I took it, I called everybody. I called my family, my friends. This is a funny story because I started telling people you have to take mushrooms because it should be added to tap water. It's the most amazing thing that exists on the planet. There's nothing better. So I did... first time I did 1 gram, and then a week later, I was oh, if 1 gram was amazing, then 4 grams is going to be super duper amazing. Let's do 4 grams. What I didn't know is that I'm very sensitive to psilocybin. I didn't know it at that point. I'm very sensitive to everything, alcohol, whatever. But this literally floored me. And before anything happened, 2 entities showed up. It was a physical presence, and they said, this is going to be a punishment because you cannot keep telling people to take sacred medicine for, you know, entertainment purposes. This is basically for people to heal, and not everyone can take it. And we will show you now what can happen if you don't respect this magic mushroom. Wow. And they literally dragged me through hell. It was before it kicked in, I switched off all the phones. I took out all the batteries from my phone so that I don't call police. I was literally going insane. It was really impossible for me not to do something stupid. This is one of the reasons why I made the video, The Danger of Magic Mushrooms, because they can be dangerous. And that was the most difficult lesson. It was the worst 2 hours of my life because I had no idea what happened. I had no idea what hit me. And I literally thought that I'm insane and that's going to be my life now. And I described this in my video. But after that, there was a moment where I was like, I'm never touching anything psychedelic ever again. But I think after 2 months, 3 months, my brain healed, everything went back to normal. And I was like, let's give it a try, but let's be more careful now. And I did, I think, 0.5 gram. And I had an amazing trip. I was like, oh, so you have to respect the dose, you have to respect the setting. Because what you described, your last trip, that was basically what Terence McKenna said, 1 gram in silent darkness. And that's what I've always been doing. I went out only once to talk to trees, and I think once to see the city, and I was also told to go out. And I never leave the house. I always stay under my blanket, just meditating and thinking about this. But to give you an answer, it's a few times a year. You see, mushrooms are so difficult for me because they give me answers that it takes time to process. It takes me about 2-3 months to get all the messages from my recordings, because I record everything on my phone. And then it takes time to process everything and to understand what they meant and then implement it into life. And they're like lessons, you know? And I try not to overdo it. But recently I started doing, it's also every time I get access to it, it's not really that frequent. But recently I started doing it more frequent. And it turns out you can do it more frequently just to see where it gets you. But I wouldn't recommend for anyone to do it frequently. It's not a recreational thing. It's basically, it's for you to learn from, then ponder upon, and then basically get all the conclusions and then try to do something about them with your life. It's medicine. It's not really, you know, you don't go to a rave and take mushrooms. You can, but that's not the purpose.
Right. Do you ever worry that, you know, you're going to damage yourself by doing it too much?
Yes, that's the reason why I haven't tried anything yet. I'm not at a point I think we all have those doubts and problems. I started actually Googling the history of people who did magic mushrooms. And I did this because Terence McKenna died because of cancer, didn't he? I think it was cancer. And then I thought, Dennis didn't die, his brother, so you don't really have to worry about this. But I started Googling people who take mushrooms and if there's any negative effects. And I think in the history of any psychedelic substances, there isn't a single case of anyone dying because of overdosing them. So I don't think it's possible. But I started to think about, you know, because it's such a, we don't know anything because it's been illegal for so long. We have no point of, we don't have any reference. We don't know who to talk to about this. It's only been in the last few years that, you know, Kingston College of London started doing research, and then universities started getting interested in this because, you know, you cannot keep ignoring this thing until, you know, big pharma takes over, because it heals, it saves people's lives. It heals human psyche. It's a medicine that you cannot ignore. Everyone says that one mushroom trip is basically 4 years of psychotherapy. So yeah, I don't think you can ignore this. But yeah, I am a bit worried about, we don't know what they do to you physically. It's the same with ayahuasca. You don't know, you know, they change something in your brain. People say that they grow neurons, but what else do they do? Do we know? We don't. So yeah, I'm a bit worried.
Yeah, I always try to, because occasionally, like, you'll have an amazing trip that's, you know, beautiful and magical and life-changing, but then you'll have another one where you're like, oh, fuck, like, am I stuck like this? Did I just like I didn't mess myself up. And I don't think people talk about that enough. And then something another plug for your mate Tom, or your mate Tom. He did a video once upon a time saying like you have to watch out, like a lot of the YouTubers. The problem with I think channels kind of like ours is that people get into it and they get kind of, fame, or not really fame, but they get a lot of attention because they do psychedelics, and then therefore they just keep doing more and more and more, and they go kind of overboard with it because so I don't think that part's healthy. Like you do need to approach it with, take time in between, process it like you said. And I think that's a healthy way of doing it. But the people that are like, oh, watch me take this drug this week and next week I'm going to do this drug. Like that makes me uncomfortable.
No. You have to, that's why I said that you need to be, those entities, they told me that there's a reason why they picked me to talk to me. I mean, ever since I started the channel, I know that there's a lot of people who talk to them. It's not just me. But they gave me a list of reasons. It's very, it's very personal, but they said, this is why we decided to talk to you. And the way you described it is exactly that, is that you have this understanding of how important it is to keep a very sane approach to everything. And also you need to know how to handle people. I know that this is something that people get really crazy about. Like as soon as you start getting, even the issue of donations, people want to donate to you, people want to send you stuff, people want to see you. This is, it's not for everybody, really. You need to have a lot of experience dealing with people. You have to have people skills. You have to be very modest. It takes a lot to be someone who's, in charge of some groundbreaking stuff. It cannot be anyone, because people get damaged by it. You get addicted to stuff. You get you start power tripping. It's not good. I know how to do this because I had a very active Facebook account where I had millions of views, and that really taught me a lot, that it can be very toxic if you actually start to talk about yourself. But this is something that I wanted to actually ask you. How do you see this trend of spirituality? I call it Instagram spirituality. So I'm not trying to be disrespectful, but there's a lot of people who claim they are something when they're not. How do you see this?
I mean, I agree. I cringe really hard when people say, oh, I watch these other people's videos that I don't like and yours, and you're just like this person. And I was like, no, I'm not. Don't say that. Like when people have like, oh, manifest instantly and get this. And it's using the universe as this, cosmic genie. And it's just like, I can't, like, I'll never make a video about anything just for views. Like people start doing that, where you can just tell that just everything becomes very clickbaity. And I don't know if that's what you mean by the spirituality aspect of it, but that's the fake spirituality that I don't like, when it just turns into a big money game. I just want to always make sure money is not my motivator. Yeah. And then I think you're okay. I think once money becomes your motivator, that's when you start going down this weird path of just, I don't know, just very cringeworthy.
I got my ass kicked really hard recently because I made a video about my views on sexuality. And as soon as I uploaded it, I got 12% of dislikes, which was the highest I've ever had on any video. Wow. And my problem was, it's not making things for money, because I don't do that. My problem is that this video was 100% me, and not just me, the bad side of me. It was really me being whiny and just, I really didn't like it. But it was only when I uploaded it, when people started giving me feedback, very negative feedback, when I realized that there's something very wrong with the direction in which everything is going on my channel. And then I remembered, like, the entities told me that my job here is to make sure that I raise everyone's vibrational frequency. And then one guy sent a message to me saying, watch this video and tell me how am I supposed to raise my vibrational frequency with this. And I looked at this and I was like, oh, you're right. This is absolute crap what I did. This is horrible. And I deleted it. It's the second. Oh, wow. It's the second time. The first time was I made a video about meeting someone when they died, and this is the second time I deleted it. But this time it made sense, and this video was a turning point for me, because I realized what my mission is. I realized what's important, and I know that it's all about people. I serve them. I think Albert Einstein once said that your life is not worth anything until you're serving others. He said that you're only, Einstein was really smart, not only because of physics, but also his social skills and how he saw society was very intelligent. But for me, it's not money is not the issue, because I think, you know, we live in a material world, unfortunately. Even though we're not about money, the rest of the world is. You need a roof over your head. You need, you know, money is a part of this, whether you like it or not. I don't, but you have to exist somehow. And if it is my job now, then I don't mind asking for money. The bigger problem that I have is trying not to inject myself into the videos, trying to get my ego out of this, making sure that it's not about me, that it's about people who watch those videos, because that's the only thing that matters is, you know, how much you can heal them, how much you can help them. So that's how I see it. And it's also the same for you, because you started this healing channel. Can you talk about this a little bit more? Can you say, because I know you've explained how it started, but what is this about? Explain it to people.
So I'm still trying to figure it out, to be honest with you. I think I'm just channeling energy. Well, actually, I'm going to rename I'm not going to call myself an energy healer anymore. I'm just going to say I'm an energy doorway.
Oh, that's cool.
I've noticed I've done some experiments where, like, if I think I'm doing something, I'm not really doing anything. Basically, all I do is I kind of put myself in a meditative state or a trance, and then I just open the door, and energy flows through me to other people, and they feel it. And it sounds super bizarre, and I wouldn't be into it if I just was hearing me talk. But I've done so many videos and tests with it that people can feel it. And people like to say, oh, I like your energy, but it's not my energy. It's like, it's just the energy flowing through me, or I guess that's the best way I've learned to describe it. But people, you know, feel body tingles, they feel heat, they've gotten healed from things. And it's super new agey and weird, but it works, so I keep doing it. That's what I tell people. It's like, I can't really understand it via, you know, physics or even spirituality, what's going on, because a lot of people will tell me, oh, this is what's happening, and I was like, yeah, but I don't know that 100%. Like, I understand what you're saying, but if I can't say that I know something for a fact, then I won't say it. I will kind of say a generality, or I will kind of say I'll just say this is what I think is happening. And that's what I always try to do in all my videos, is I try not to say this, when you smoke DMT, you definitely go to this alternate dimension. I go, it feels like that. It may not be that, but that's actually one thing I really liked about your videos, though, because you're very much like you have all these like knowings, like this is what this is. They told me this, and that's very cool, because I don't have that.
Thank you. Well, the reason I do this is because I don't have anything else. So I'm basically, listen, what else am I going to tell them about?
Right.
Because I cannot add myself to it. I cannot try to use other people's experiences like yours, because that's not fair. You're not supposed to do this. The only thing I have left is what I know from them, and then I need to put it out and show to people that this is what it is. You take it and do whatever you want with it.
Yeah.
I'm just the messenger. I always keep saying this. I want to say something to make you feel a bit better. My dad used to do what you do now, and my dad has the ability to heal people. He, back then, when I was a teenager, I didn't understand it, because it used to be called this Reiki, Reiki healing. I don't know what it is, but he would massage people, and they would really get better. They used to call them magic hands. He would just put his hands on people's bodies, and they would get better because of what you described, vibration, this warm energy. He has the same thing. So I think we all might have it.
Oh,
it's just that you are
100%. I actually, now I'll even say that in a lot of my videos, like anybody can do this, I think, because I completely stumbled on it by accident. And people will say, like, then why do you do it? Or why do you think you're special? I'm like, I'm not special. I'm just crazy enough to put myself on the internet. And I'm crazy enough to like get people to try it. Because when I first had it done on me, it was like I felt electricity all through my body. And my body was twitching. My face was twitching. My hands got really hot. And for a couple hours after this guy healed me, I was still twitching. And I was like, okay, like I've had other people say that they're healing me before. And maybe if I could imagine that I saw a color or whatever, but this was like way beyond imagination. Like I couldn't get my body to stop twitching, and you know, it was a visceral thing that happened to me.
Yeah.
And I talked to the guy afterwards and I was like, I think you just changed my life. And he was like, yeah, you know, whatever. He blew it off because he was like, you know, he thought maybe I was exaggerating, but I was like, after that moment, I was like, I contacted every single friend that I would be kind of into it. And I'm like, let me try this on you. And, you know, they felt it. And so
that's
I was
how you
like,
lose friends.
yeah. I mean, but that's the thing. And then some people say, oh, like you're brave, or I can't talk to my family or my friends about it. It's like, I always tell them, neither can I. Like I have most of my most of my lifelong friends, I don't talk about this stuff at all with. Because I've mentioned it a couple times, like just I'll test the water, like I'll throw out something generic and see what they say with it, and they'll usually shoot it down. And so I'm like, okay, now I know like this is not something we're going to talk about. We can still be friends, but I just will avoid this topic with them. And then you just go make new friends in that realm. So it's like, because people used to message me all the time saying, how do I come out to my family about psychedelics? And I would just tell them, you don't have to. Like, you just don't have to. Just keep it between you and the psychedelics for now, and then go from there.
Yeah, that's the thing. I made a video called "You're Not Alone" because I got a message from the entities because they know about this. They said they know it's a lonely journey. They know it's a very lonely job, and you're not alone. I mean, in our case, we don't really have much to complain because we go anywhere. We have thousands of people to talk to. And that's why I wanted to start those communities. I'm on every possible social media just so people have a place to talk about this, so that they have a validation of their experiences, because it is difficult. As I said, the biggest problem with psychedelics is that it changes you in a way that you no longer have any interest in your old friends or people who you used to hang out with. It's irreversible very often, and not everybody is ready for this. Not everybody is ready to have their current life getting destroyed. So yeah, I would say it is brave. I still think that it takes a lot of courage.
It is
what we do.
Yeah,
because it's not all pleasant. I mean, it hurts. Very often you lose people. For me, the worst part is that I lose people who I thought were my open-minded friends, and then I realized that they're not as open-minded as I thought they were, and that is painful, because you see people for what they really are in face of truth. You tell them truth about yourself, and you know, it's a psychotherapy. Those videos are very therapeutic. There's no question about it.
Yeah.
But we lose people in the process. So it's
true. But what I always say to myself is, well, you know, when we die, because now I have like no fear of death, and I know like what's gonna kind of happen when we die, and I just always go, well, you know, I'll accept their apology later. Like, you know, when we're on the other side, they can be like, oh.
Okay, listen, it's been an hour. I think we don't want to tell people too much at once. It's been an hour. I know Joe Rogan does 4 hours sometimes. But yeah, tell people where they can go to find you. Obviously, it's YouTube, Shaman Oaks. For me, it's 434, so it's easy. But where else can people find you?
Everything is at Shaman Oaks. It's Instagram at Shaman Oaks. I have Twitter at Shaman Oaks. Facebook at Shaman Oaks. I don't really... I'm more active, I guess, on Instagram and YouTube and Facebook. I'm not really active on Twitter, but I know people can go to those locations just to kind of whatever they can put on a notification for. Because I know YouTube's not the best always with getting people notified. I've done that. So
That's true. For me, if anyone's looking for me, it's just 434. So 3 digits, 434, you can find me. The same. Twitter, Instagram, Snapchat. I'm everywhere at the moment. Also, I have a website, be434.com. So be434.com if anyone's looking for me. At the moment, it's redirecting to YouTube, but I will do something with it soon.
I do have a website, shamanoaks.com. But yeah, that's my healing business.
So when people want to watch your videos, when they go to shamanoaks.com, is that where they can find you, or does it need to be YouTube?
Shamanoaks.com is so far mostly just my healing business. So if you're interested in that, there are links on there for my YouTube, but YouTube is the best spot for everything me.
Fantastic. Okay, Alan, it's been great. I'm really happy that you're the kind of person I can talk to. Very often you speak to people thinking, oh, let's see what happens. You have some expectations, but you're everything I thought you would be. So we're definitely,
thank you.
Definitely the same type of people when it comes to being open-minded and interested in this type of stuff. I hope we can do this again. There's a lot of stuff we could talk about. So yeah, it was a real pleasure. Wish you all the best for now. And yeah, if there's anything else that we can discuss in the future, let me know and we'll do this again.
Perfect, man. Sounds good. It was
fantastic. Fun. All the best. Take care.
All right, bye.
I hope you enjoyed this interview. If you know of anyone who we could invite here to benefit the 434 community and this channel, message me or leave a comment below.